What's up, Internet? It is once again time for one of my super ultra chocolatey fudge coated gaming traditions. And it's a little bit sad because this is the last one of the year, and in fact is the last one that I have planned out until Mega Man next summer. So, little bit sad, but I'll explain this one to you. This is Bomber Week. It's the week before Christmas where I play a Bomberman game on the N64. And depending on what year it is, ends up essentially deciding which game I'm going to be playing. The first year it's Bomberman 64, second year is Bomberman Hero, what we are playing today. Third year is Bomberman Second Attack, and then it just loops. But, let's just get started with Bomberman Hero, and I'll talk about it along the way. Now we'll be creating a new file. As you can see, I've got a complete file up to Planet 6, a planet that very few people actually know about, or at least did when I first bought this game. And, the story is very heavily based on Star Wars. And by heavily based, I of course mean it is essentially Star Wars, but with Bomberman instead of Darth Vader, which is something of a downgrade. But it is still Bomberman on the N64, which I have always said was Bomberman in his prime. Unfortunately, my N64 controller is completely garbage, and my control stick does not like working, so this is going to be a little bit tricky. Here's hoping I'm not going to have to move left or right at all. But it's not like too many N64 games need the control stick, just all of them except Mischief Makers. And I can't beat Mischief Makers because of that stupid level that requires you to button mash the C sticks, or the C buttons. Anyway, this was the Bomberman games in their prime. This one was heavily panned by a lot of people, mainly because it has no multiplayer. Doesn't really bother me all that much, but I will admit I like Bomberman's multiplayer. And here's the first planet, Planet Bomber. There's 6 planets in total, although pretty much anywhere you go, you'll only hear about 5. When I first got this game, there was a total of 1 video on YouTube that had to do with the 6th area, and it was just grainy VHS. Now, if you'll look, moving up and down, it's pretty fast. Sideways, not so much, and that's just my C-stick, so I'm probably going to be serpentining a lot. But this is a nice little training area, and as you can see, it's not a puzzle game, it's also a platformer. Completely different. Another reason why no one liked it, except me. And here's classic NES Bomberman music. Still a fantastic song to this day. I'm quite fond of it. I'm a little bit upset with the fact that I have to start my recorded Bomber Week videos with Bomberman Hero. Because it's sort of like the middle of the trilogy, so to speak. Although it has nothing to do with the other two, but for the event Bomber Week, it is the middle of the trilogy. And here's a little bit of plot intrigue inserted. But I don't know how it would have felt regardless of which one I started with. Because if I started with Bomberman 64, you know, the original one, the final area of Rainbow Palace is a pain in the ass. Like, every time I play it, I have trouble remembering what to do. Like, I usually pause it the first time I start, and then just like stare at it for about an hour until I figure it out, because Rainbow Palace is a pain in the ass. This one's the center of a trilogy, and the next one is, I believe it's C down? Yes, it is. Haha, I remember stuff. Aw, and it didn't go. Anyway, and I kicked that, and killed the giant chicken, and made all of those little chickens orphans, and I feel bad about that. Gold gem. Anyway, if I picked Bomberman, Second Attack, there would have been a serious problem in that I would have to do Bomberman 64 the next year. Like, this is nice because I get to do that one last, which is probably my least favorite of the three, just because of Rainbow Palace. Although I wish I was playing Second Attack right now because it's my favorite of the series. So there's a score and it'll give you a number. And as I said, there are 6 planets. The 6th one is unlocked by getting all of the collectible bombs, as well as getting max scores. I really like these floating yellow-faced enemies. I don't know why. I think they're just goofy looking. Oh, and I got hit. Anyway, I will be doing the secret world, but I will not be unlocking it because I seriously don't have that kind of time to dedicate to getting a perfect score on every level. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the main story in this, and I need a key to get there. But I'll go through the main story, and when I'm done, I will just hop onto my completed file, and there's a secret card back here. Oh, and I can't climb up there. Oh well. Anyway, I'll do the secret world on my completed file, and then I'll just show you all the bonus stuff, because the secret world is actually the shortest of all of them. Like, every world, except for the last two, the secret world and the boss rush world, all have 3 areas, and each one averages out 5 or 6 levels in each area. But, yeah, so, no, I can't get to secret room because we took the main entrance, so we'll go back and we'll go do that again. This is so weird because I'm having trouble with my audio recording right now. Like, playing games with SD recording requires my dazzle, which is temperamental to begin with. As you can see from like me playing Heavy Nova, there's like a weird sort of flickering effect. Only with the Genesis portion of my Retron, but I always have trouble with recording audio while doing this, because like I like to be able to play the audio to the game through my headphones, and like there's an audio jack in my microphone to do that, but every time I do that it sends like a weird feedback through my actual computer microphones, or my computer speakers, which sounds like they're gonna blow out, so I can't do that. And every other time I try, it has like this weird feedback where like I can hear myself like half a second in delay, and it kills my ability to speak. In fact, that's a pretty normal thing for a human. Oh, trap box. Is hearing yourself on like half a second delay, it will just mess with your ability to speak. It's actually called aphasia. It's a real thing. So that's, but now I'm having a completely different problem in that I'm only getting one speaker out of my headphones, which is great. But I did it! There. Poor score, and I don't care. Secret room. This is the one outside, I think. I think this is a really cool level, because it's outside it. Uh-oh. Oh. I really like this song. I think it's called Radial, and it's just super happy and catchy. But, yeah, this is Bomberman Hero. Now, Bomber Week is, of course, a week, so I'm going to be doing 1 planet a day. And it's usually just the weekdays, so it's Bomber Week's only like 5 actual days, not 6, but this one gets a 6th. And I'm thinking about doing something else as well, just as sort of a fun little bonus thing, but I'm not sure if I can get that done. So, what else has been in the, what else has been going on? Well, I suppose first and foremost, some rather sad news. Ralph Baer, the father of video games, passed away. And for those of you who don't know, and I'm a pessimist, so I'm just going to assume that's all of you, he invented the Magnavox Odyssey, which is unfortunately a game system I don't own. But it's sad news, because like pretty much everyone involved in game design, to at least a certain extent, he's kind of a hero of mine. So it's kind of sad to hear that he passed away, but that's life, I guess. Let's see, what else has been going on with me? Working on reviews. I can't talk about too many of them because I want to keep them a surprise, but I can say that, in fact, the day before I put this out, you should be able to watch a Deadly Premonition review. And that was a ton of fun. I love picking that up. In fact, I think I timed that perfectly because I think it's actually free on PS Plus right now. Which I actually lost my PS Plus. I wasn't a big fan of spending it. And I probably won't renew it anytime soon unless they have like a massive sale, which... excuse me. Which has like the total cost of PS Plus in discounts in games I actually want. So maybe if there was a ton of classics on sale or something. What else? Oh, PlayStation Experience happened, and I abruptly ignored all of it. But they had some free games. This was the room we were supposed to go to if we didn't get the secret room, the heavy room, which is... Oh, it's this room. This is the first room with secret collectibles, which you need to unlock the final world. And there it is. The Sega Saturn logo, also known as an ad-hoc bomb. Collect all 24 of them, and get a perfect score on all the levels, and you unlock the secret world. It's a little bit weird with those, because when I first collected all of them, way back in the day, they're all on these platforming levels. Like Bomberman Hero has platforming levels, like you're seeing. They make up the majority of the gameplay, but there's also like these sort of mini-game levels to break it up. There is one on a mini-game level, and I didn't know that. And I'm still bitter that that one's there, so I'll be sure to collect that one, if nothing else. So yeah, Bomberman Hero, fun game. I like it, it's a platformer, it's different, and I would say... I'm not sure I would say it's my least favorite of the Bombermans on the N64, but... it's certainly not my favorite. My favorite's Bomberman's Second Attack, which... I would seriously suggest getting a copy, but it's also very expensive and rare. But it's absolutely worth the purchase. And I have to bomb this stupid thing. There we go. What else? Free games from PlayStation Experience. There's Need for Speed on the Vita, which I don't own a Vita, so I want to own a Vita. I want to get those Hyperdimension Neptunia remakes, and Katamari, and Little King's Story. And I thought about getting one of those PlayStation TVs to do it, but you can't play Katamari or Little King's Story on it, and those are the two games I want to play the most, so that's frustrating. I really like this level, and it's not really an Easter egg, but there's a fun little extra scene you can watch. If you go up here, you can watch Bomber Black take off in the bomber jet. And that comes back into play later on. It'll help you with a few levels. And my crappy controller makes it impossible to actually outrun this stupid thing. Now, to get a perfect score, you have to kill all the enemies and collect all the jewels. And in boss levels, it's all timer based, and some of them are completely random whether or not you'll get them. So that's special. But I like this one. It's fun. I don't think it deserves half the shit it gets just because it's not a puzzle game and it's not a platformer. Oh crap. This is a cool level. Like, you're on top of the bomber base now, ready to take off on your actual mission. Oh no! No! First death. Slow running. I need a new N64 controller. I need a lot of new equipment. But so what else is going on? Looking for work still. I managed to do a small contract job that's already over. I made very little money at it, but you know, at least I can pay for rent this month, so that's nice. Let's see, what else been going on? Hoping to get a few more reviews done, because Viva Pinata actually put me back about 5 reviews. Because I like to have... Oh, I need a key. That's right. Because I like to have 5 reviews done at any one point in case something goes wrong, like my computer implodes and I need to get a new one or something. But, Viva Pinata, because I had to remake it about 8 times, actually put me 5 reviews behind, so... I'm thinking about doing a few smaller reviews, like maybe doing some Intellivision reviews or something. I don't know. Here's hoping something happens. I'd also like to do a Game of the Year list, although I'm not sure how that'll work, just because I've never done a list. Well, I've never done a video list, and more importantly, most of the games I'd put on my Game of the Year list this year... Oh, that was close. Most of those games are handheld. Like, I can tell you about 4 out of 10 would be on the 3DS, and I have no way of recording that, so maybe I'll do like a top 5 or something, or I'll find like facsimile games or something. Anyway, my bomber train is complete, and I get the bomber pitch, which is special. I don't know what that means actually. Oh, this is what gives me my special equipment, which unlocks the minigame stages. Yes, it works in the water, it works as a jetpack, and there's 2 more, but they only get like 2 missions apiece. Go check it out. Also, the bomber trainer is missing, and there's in no way any sort of collection or connection between the two, despite the fact that there totally is. This is a neat little scene, though. That was one thing I was a little bit sad about. That nice little training area at the beginning of the game you can't see again unless you restart the game. So, yeah, we're done the first third of the first planet. So now we get the Blue Cave, which is a very boring level. And I don't really care for this music all that much. And this is like the one level that seems to be working in stereo, or mono rather than stereo, so I can hear the entire song through my headphones right now. And it's obnoxious, and weird Panzer Dragoon-esque ceramic pots with lasers. And giant crabs, which will come back, I think, in the next level, actually. Maybe. I did it! Whole Lake, yes. This is the first minigame level. The first level with the bomber gear, you get to experience the Bomber Marine, which is one of the 2 ones you spend the most time with, the other being the Bomber Jet. You don't get the Bomber Copter or the Bomber Sled all that often. And it's a shame because those 2 are actually kind of different. The jetpack and the Marine are basically the same thing, just with a different coat of paint. I change. Although back then, when I was a kid, I always just thought he yelled, "I am Bomberman," when he jumped. Just dumb little fact. And now we're underwater. And suddenly the control scheme has changed. Oh, the music is very catchy. Kind of jazzy. Dun, dun, dun. Although I still think Radial is my favorite song on the soundtrack. Yeah, I'd always say that Bomberman was its best on the N64, and there was never quite another Bomberman 64 type game. We kind of got it close with Bomberman Generations, like a little bit, and suddenly we're in Proteus. But it wasn't quite the same, and I've heard people say that Bomberman Jetters on the GameCube was also kind of the same, but I hate that game. Not just because it didn't make sense in the Bomberman Jetters anime, which I've watched like 5 episodes of in my entire life, just because I was told it was a thing and I decided to check it out. But, and this is probably my entire experience, but I rented it once at a Rogers Video. And fun story about why I started going to Rogers Video, but I'll tell that at some later point. The problem is every time it would save to my memory card, it wouldn't read a memory card. So it would continuously tell me I didn't save. So I'd have to beat the game in one entire sitting, and I wasn't going to do that. It wasn't very good. So if you're going to get another Bomberman game, hoping to get another Bomberman 64, try Bomberman Generations, and if you got that, maybe Jetters, but it's not as good. Not just because it screwed me over, but because it's just not as good, I don't think. Holidays are coming up, which... that's nice for people, I guess. I don't know, that's when people typically hang out with their family and their girlfriends or wives or whatever. I don't really have either, so I'm just going to be sitting here working, probably just making more reviews of stuff. I'm currently trying to figure out what to do with a review I made a few months ago that I guarantee none of you have seen. It was a Final Fantasy 13 video, and I put it out, and I put it in my queue, as I always do. And as soon as it uploaded properly, I got hit with a copyright flag. And it wasn't the first copyright flag I ever got. I've gotten several on music and stuff, all of which were false claims. There was an extra level in there somewhere. We'll go find it. But this one was directly from Square Enix. But like every other copyright notice I've ever gotten, I start out by sending out, like, a friendly email, saying, haha, this has to be a mistake, do you think you could clear this up for me? And their response was kind of the douchiest thing ever imaginable. I will paraphrase, and basically they're saying that they are too lazy to give a shit, and they're going to continually press that I am breaking the law, and it's totally copyright infringement, and I'm not allowed to use images from a game to review and or critique a game. That is entirely bullshit, and actually it's borderline, in fact it's not even borderline, that's straight up illegal, because there's this fancy little thing called copyright, what is it? Brain blanking. Well, basically, it's a... why is my brain blanking on that? That's while I'm playing. When I play and talk at the same time, it's hard to say. It's essentially, for the sake of journalistic stuff, and while I don't like to refer to myself as a journalist, I have taken journalism classes. I, in fact, took journalism classes to make videos on YouTube. I know it's a little bit ass backwards, but that's the thing I did. I spent a year of my life doing that last year, actually. But essentially, there is this nice little law about copyright saying it's not copyright infringement for the sake of critique or education. And seeing as I like to talk about game design, and seeing as I'm a reviewer and a critic, I am wholly in my rights to do this. I mean, that's why those laws exist, is to, allow us to effectively do our job. And, not have people try and control the message through essentially just censoring what they think is not nice because it's disparaging to their content, whether content is good or bad. Now, I don't think that's the case here. I think the case is Square Enix is essentially using YouTube's broken system, and they're just incredibly lazy about keeping track of whether anyone is doing anything illegal or not. I mean, the system was basically put in place to prevent people from stealing music and movies and just putting them up on YouTube, and that's noble, but it's entirely ow, stupid boss. Anyway, it's entirely automated, which means there's no one actually paying attention to any of this. So yeah, Square Enix isn't happy with me, and they're not going to let me put up my Final Fantasy video because they're a bunch of lazy twats. And if I want to put it up there, they get every penny I'd make, all 2 of them, because no one watched my videos, which is a whole nother problem I've got. But I don't want to do that, and on top of that, I will always have that sort of flag on my account saying I am potentially a thief. And I've tried to clear it up with YouTube, and they basically said, no, you gotta deal with Square Enix to have them lift it, and Square Enix is like, oh, we don't deal with this, you gotta go to YouTube to do it, so it's like, great. So I'm a little bit stuck on options. The way I see it, I can either put it up and let Square Enix just take full credit and call me a thief for the rest of my life, which I'm not cool with. I don't like being called a thief when I'm not. There's a bomb, I remember that one being there. I think you can skip this entire level, actually. Let's see if I can do it. I don't think I can do it with my crappy controller. Wait, I think you can make that jump and just sort of skip the entire level. There's a few levels like that, which were just weirdly shaped. My other option is to delete it and forget my video ever existed, and seeing as I had to suffer through all of Final Fantasy 13, and including having to play it, that took about 5 months, as well as reviewing it, so I'm not really cool with that. So the other option is to maybe put it on my kind of garbage website on my own, and just like put a link on my YouTube account. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Aw, crap, I'm dead. But, yeah. So I've had the game's over. I'm going to continue, though. But, yeah, so that's been the fun amount of time I've had to deal with Square Enix and Final Fantasy 13, an ongoing saga of stuff I don't want to deal with up to and including playing Final Fantasy 13. And I may have just spoiled the entire review right there, but if I do put it up, I would like someone to at least watch it to the end, because I worked really hard on that ending. The ending to that video I worked really hard on, and I'm really proud of. So, aw, I don't have the bomb. Screw it, I'm not going back. Anyway, if you get perfect scores on it, you get a medal at the end of the world. And if you get all the perfect medals, you unlock, well, that's one of the things you unlock for the final world, but you also unlock a few other bonus stuff, like you unlock a sound test mode, which is kind of neat. And you get to fight a Geodude. You get a level that's kind of like a thing you saw in the intro with Bomberman racing a snowman on a snowboard. That's kind of neat. There's also there's also 2 other modes. Like, you've seen the Bomber Slider and Bomber Marine levels already, which I've shown you. There's 2 more. There's a jetpack, or there's a helicopter which attaches to Bomberman's face, and there is a snowboard, which is going to control in a very odd fashion, seeing as I can't move left or right terribly quickly. But one of the unlockable bonuses is you can oh crap. One of the unlockable bonuses is you can play the Bomber Marines and Bomber Jet levels on foot. Like in a special bonus mode where you're dressed in solid gold pants. And that's kind of neat. Oh, is there... Oh, I'm gonna have to run around that. I have no idea how I'm gonna do that. Yeah, my controller's already not working terribly well. Great. Oh well. And then the final one is basically a reskin of the entire game, but instead of hunting bombs, you're hunting the princess's hidden treasures. And while they're all in the exact same place, they all look differently. And now we get introduced to a reoccurring asshole that we're gonna have to deal with once in every planet. Nitros. Ooh, he's functionally a very standard bomber character, except he's dressed like a ninja. Except that half of his difficulty comes from his stage, because his stage has environmental attacks that vary depending on where you are in his stage and where he is. And Bomberman's being quite arrogant, but ooh, stylish. He's the hidden, what is it, 8th Elemental Knight with the eye scanners from Dragon Ball or whatever. I never got why people love Dragon Ball Z. Like, Dragon Ball Z, like, okay, yeah, see? He jumped on this and it had, like, that cross. So that cross will delineate where those energy waves are gonna go. And every time you fight him, he'll have new stuff. Like, there's one that has flamethrowers in the floor, there's one which fires a beam chakra, and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, I've never really understood why everyone loves Dragon Ball Z. Like every episode of Dragon Ball Z seems to be two people floating around, yelling at the top of their lungs while not doing anything. Like, I like original Dragon Ball. Maybe I'm weird like that, but at least shit happened in original Dragon Ball. Original Dragon Ball was really good. How many Bomberman games do I own? I own all three on the N64. I own Generations. I own the first Bomberman Max game in special Bomberman flavor. I own Bomberman Tournament, which is like a weird sort of Zelda-style game, which I thought was really cool. I think that's it. Lots of Bomberman games I don't own. Lots of ones I want to get. Like, I want to get the Sega Saturn one, because I hear that one's tremendous. Does kicking ever help in this guy? I think it's just throw, and that tends to work best. There we go. I've got a bit of a funny story with the original Bomberman on the N64. When I first went to get my first N64, because I have a second one, that's a different story for a whole other time. I was standing in a Toys R Us looking at a big wall of games. In fact, that Toys R Us is still there, but they moved their toy department, and here's Piebot. Anyway, I was standing in a wall of games looking there. Now it's a wall of Lego, but I can still go back there and reminisce. And all the games, I suppose, were at the same cost then, or something, because my parents essentially prepaid for the N64. Like, they paid for it at the thing, and they said, okay, we want to buy games. So they charged, and they're like, okay, pick one. So I basically was standing at this wall looking at the games, and I had one in each hand. In my left hand, I had Bomberman 64. In my right hand, I had Banjo-Kazooie. I walked out that day with Banjo-Kazooie, and honestly I think it was probably the better choice because I think it's a longer game with a lot more stuff to do. And now I own Bomberman 64. But unfortunately, someone has my Banjo-Kazooie. In fact, I think I actually know who it was. Area 3. Clown Valley. Fun. And that actually goes into the original origin of Bomber Week. My parents, the week before Christmas, would go over to one of their friends' house, and one of their friends had a son my age. Well, not my age, he was a few years older, but we hung out, and my parents, or his parents or something, would let us rent a game for his N64, and we'd always rent one of the Bombermans on the N64, and essentially it just cycled, and I continued the tradition after I got them, after I purchased them myself. And I think he actually has my Banjo-Kazooie now, and I'm a little bit bitter about that, because I don't own Banjo-Kazooie anymore. I finally have Banjo-Tooie, but not Kazooie. And I was too jiggy short of finishing Banjo-Kazooie. I know exactly which ones it was. One was in Rusty Bucket Bay, the worst Banjo-Kazooie level in my opinion. I didn't have the one behind the giant boat rotors. That one always screwed with me because that one always screwed with me because you had to hit a switch from the inside of the boat, and then you had to run all the way through the boat outside the boat, and then get behind it in a certain time, and that sucked. But I also didn't have the one from Bubble Gloop Swamp where you have to eat more things than the other crocodile. That one sucked. And then I don't have anywhere near complete on Banjo-Tooie because there's that stupid canary that makes you button mash, and I'm terrible at that. Ooh. Health. Need it. Run away. So in addition to the hidden sixth world, there's also a hidden level on this planet, and I will not be getting it because I've only managed to get it once. Oh, hold on. But that little pink moon type thing, or that little pink ball in Bomberman's head, the planet also has a moon type thing like that. And if you button mash a certain code in, I think it's like pressing start a bunch when you start the game, you can actually go there. I did it once when I was a kid, and it was a cool level. I haven't been able to do it since, though. There's a big bomb. And we're gonna get Black Bomberman to come in and... Oh, and we died in a cutscene. I seriously didn't think that would happen. I thought I could sneak in, have him explode the giant wall, and slip through unnoticed. But that was not the case. I like sneaking around and stuff. That's why whenever I play like an RPG or whatever, I always pick like a stealth character. Or whatever character can dual wield swords. Because I can just relate to that. My controller is like falling apart right now. Oh, my thumb hurts. Oh, but I have so many more levels to do. Anyway, we are coming up to the last bit of this world. It's this mini-boss. And behind this mini-boss is a boss. Oh, there is something a little bit weird about this. Like, we're fighting this mini-boss. But, and you'll see once we finish. Oh, and this is a fun little thing. If you played Bomberman 64, you know you could hold a bomb and then pump it up and make it big. You can't do that in this one. Instead, you just throw 4 bombs. Anyway, after the mini-boss, there's now this one lowly grunt for reasons that don't make sense. Anyway, we go into the crashed spaceship, and we fight the boss for this planet. Versus Endol, the giant electric robo-catfish. Oh, and this guy again. How did I get here? It's a pretty linear path, mate. Anyway. So some stuff's been going on. Gonna try and catch up and making some more reviews. Well, I'm looking for work in between holidays when everyone else is hanging out and having fun. Because I like this. And I really have nothing better to do. So... I mean, the only other alternative is to, like, spend time with my parents, and they really don't want anything to do with me if they can help it. Despite the fact that I rent half the house from them, so... we just try and stay out of each other's way as much as possible. Still, the other half of my family has, like, a vendetta against the other half, so... I suppose it could be worse. You have to fight all the bosses again on the final world, like it's a boss rush planet, but they fight completely differently. This guy's so broken, because, his world is, or, his final boss form, or his, like, last world form, oh, that's bullshit. The entire floor is coated in water, and he can electric current the entire water. So, yeah, you're kind of screwed. But, as I said, some of these bosses are kind of a crapshoot as to whether you'll get a good rank on them or not, because it's entirely based on timing and whether or not you started quick enough. This guy is very difficult, and is basically completely random. But, he's one of the more basic bosses. The final boss of this game has, like, well, not the final boss, but, the final non-secret world boss, he has like 6 forms or so. Oh, I can't move sideways very fast, you jerk. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, I need a new N64 controller. I need to review more N64 games, but I don't have too many. I've got Blast Core, which is pretty good, I guess. Maybe I'll review that sometime. Yep, we missed getting a clear .5, and now we will see our end result. Oh, and we get a little bit of story, which is nice. I debated whether or not to just take the finished file and skip all the story, but that didn't seem fair to you. So you're welcome, all one person who's going to watch this. But Primus Star, that's our next destination, and if I recall, that's the fun jungle planet that has some weird stuff. Like, there's a level based on all the seasons and actually has a ton of secrets in it. So maybe tomorrow during Bomber Week Day 2, where I take on the second planet, maybe I'll look at a few of those. But that little pink moon you can actually go to as a hidden level if you mash, I think, start before you enter the game.
Good job.
And we got the worst score possible. It's red, blue, bronze, silver, gold. So we got terrible. But this has been Bomber Week Day 1. I will see you tomorrow.